What's up guys, I'm Phoenix Master 1 and we have got Arcane Fellstone as our second Arcane Dragonstone, and this does give you minus in special cooldown and also can give you up to 14 to all of your stats. So it is going to be calculating based on 25% of foe's visible attack subtracted with 4, and this is going to be giving you a lot of stats compared to a lot of the other arcane weapons. And then you also get 40% damage reduction on foe's first attacks, including the brave hits, and it also gives you special cooldown charge +1 on both your attacks and the enemy's attacks. So this way you can trigger your specials a lot easily and retaliate back with them. And then finally, you're going to be able to get the full null follow-up if you have got more speed than the opponent. So this is like the Arcane Devourer of Dragonstones. It pretty much gives you similar effects, and this can be compared to our previous Arcane Dragonstone in Arcane Grima. So that did give us only +5 to all of these stats and guaranteed follow-up attack, and it also gave the true damage, so it could have been useful on many of the AoE builds, and it also gave you healing after the combat. So it's a pretty outdated weapon, but still Arcane Grima is going to be useful on many of these slower dragons that want to get that guaranteed follow-up attack. And you're also able to stack up the healing with finish skills with counter or 4, and you can just have better self-sustain. But Arcane Fellstone gives you a lot more stats, which is really important, and it also is going to be favoring the faster dragons because of its null follow-up effect. And as it does give you special charges, you can easily retaliate back with Dragon's Roar, and you can loop things like Aegis and Pavis with a Hardy Fighter build. And for the infantry units, they're going to be freed up from running any kind of null follow-up in their Sacred Seal or Slot B, and you also don't have to run any kind of pledge skill because the special charges are built in the weapon. Now, comparing these two weapons, Arcane Fellstone is obviously the better weapon, but we also have two incredibly good inheritable weapons in New Sunstone Plus from Near Female Kana and Dragonstone Plus from Near Male Kana. So both of these weapons give you Omni +4 to all of your stats, and it also gives you flat damage reduction based on your attack and speed. You do get a bit more flat damage reduction with Dragonstone Plus, which is a summonable weapon, but New Sunstone Plus is present in the Grail pool, and the flat damage reduction is incredibly valuable because we have got so much damage reduction piercing nowadays that having the damage reduction of Arcane Fellstone isn't really that big of a deal. So the flat damage reduction, which is unpierceable, is really valuable, and then you get the secondary effects, you get the guard effect with New Sunstone Plus, and you get the full null follow-up just like Arcane Fellstone with Dragonstone Plus. A big advantage of Dragonstone Plus on many of the infantry dragons is that it doesn't have minus in special cooldown. Now what this means is that you can run Dragon's Roar as a 3 cooldown special, and you fulfill the requirement of Lagu's Friend and its special condition. So this way you're able to take full advantage of Lagu's Friend to stack up a lot of flat damage reduction with Dragonstone, and you also enjoy having Dragon's Roar, which is again going to be giving you that unpierceable damage reduction, which is really important. So a lot of the times Dragonstone Plus is just going to be a better weapon, and if you're not able to get Arcane Fellstone, then you shouldn't really feel too bad because Dragonstone Plus is pretty much that at home. And if you really want to get the minus in special cooldown, then Emblem Marth is going to be something that you can use. So on faster dragons, Arcane Fellstone and Dragonstone Plus are going to be the options, and on slower dragons you can run Arcane Grima and New Sunstone Plus. In a lot of situations, New Sunstone Plus is just going to be better on many of the slower dragons because you can get that flat damage reduction, and guard also helps you, and Dragon's Ire 4 could be run if you want to get the guaranteed follow-up attack in the enemy phase. Moving on, what if humanity itself had fallen, and what if food itself turned into our foes? Enter Food Devils, an ambitious indie SRPG game that mixes the tactical grid-based combat system of Fire Emblem with the thrilling unpredictability of roguelike games. In this ravaged world, you stand as the last remaining chef, wielding your culinary skills as weapons, and with no other choice of survival, you will have to forge contracts with Food Devils, which each have their own whims and fancies, but they're going to be aiding your adventures and your restaurant. With a diverse array of Food Devils at your disposal, there's probably going to be one that fits your tastes. The game features a story with branch paths and a whole lot of top-tier voice acting, so if you like what you're seeing, then make sure to check out the Steam and the Kickstarter pages down below. And thank you to my friend Alfred Camon and Studio Daimon for sponsoring this video.
Towards this noble end, I shall be your peerless warrior! Itadakimasu!
Wait, little chef. Don't forget to back my cause. Or I'll need to persuade you the hard way.
For my tier list, the stat allocation is extremely important, and if they already have a good preferred weapon, then I'm going to be listing them out. And I'm also going to be listing out the units that want to have New Sunstone Plus or Arcane Grima or Dragonstone Plus, because in a lot of scenarios, they don't really want to get Arcane Fellstone, and there are not a lot of dragons with the upcoming weapon refines, but still you could watch out for them. And when it comes to the Infantry dragons, newer male Kana and newer female Kana are going to be at the very top. They have got amazing modern stat spread with really high speed, and they also can make use of their resistance to run ploy skills, to run the scout skill, to make use of Dragon's Roar. So resistance is a pretty important stat for a lot of the dragons, and they check all of the boxes. And your female Kana is a free to play unit, so you can actually use her a lot more easily and merge her up. And then tier 2, I've got Halloween Nils, so he can still make use of his play assist, but he does have a stat spread where he can still make use of the things in the combat. And then Fallen Female Korin didn't really get the best of the weapon refine. I feel like Fallen Male Korin got a much better weapon refine, and he can just run Dragon's Roar with Lagu's Friend, and he doesn't really need Arcane Fellstone for a lot of things, but Female Korin here is going to be needing it with her Fallen version. And then we also have Adrift Female and Male Korin. So this weapon is just going to be a better version of their weapons, and actually gives you the full long follow-up, which is a lot better. Starting tier 3, I've got Nils. So he doesn't really have the stat spread of Halloween Nils, but still, he does have that speed. And the regular female Korin can also make use of this. Unfortunately, she doesn't really have a lot of resistance, but still, she does have that speed. And her attack stat is definitely a bit lacking. Then we have got regular female Kana and male Kana. And female Kana has got not a lot of resistance, and they're going to be focusing on their defense a bit more. But again, the speed stat is what matters with a weapon like this. And then regular Tiki also has the stat allocation to make use of this weapon, and also run a lot of the dragon skills, which I mentioned before. Faye is going to be differing a bit from Kana, and like I said, having a bit more resistance is always good as a dragon with the tools that you've got. She's not going to be as fast though. And ending off tier 4, I've got Noe, who's not going to be all that fast, and there are just a lot of other blue dragons that he can run in place of her, and they're just going to be faster, and they can make use of this weapon a lot better. And there's also regular Ninian, who doesn't really have very high attack stat. Now for a lot of dragons, they don't really want to lose their preferred skill like Seers Plus of Mythic Sothis, Halloween Female Korin having Negating Fang, Life Unending of Legendary Fae, so they just want to run the inedible Dragonstones instead, so that they don't have to give up on their preferred skill. And a lot of units pretty much don't really need this kind of weapon, and Brave Tiki is going to be getting a weapon refined in September, but even then, I don't really think that she's ever going to be needing Arcane Fellstone. The most premium build that you can have on an Infantry Dragon is pretty much this. So Arcane Fellstone is going to be helping you retaliate back with Ether, because you get the special jumping out of Lagu's Friend, and Lagu's Friend does have these special requirements, so that's why you can only run Dragon's Roar, because it's going to be a 2 cooldown special with this weapon, and you can run Attack Speed Scowl and get the Scowl effect. And when you're going to be having enough resistance, you can also run Deploy skill. So this is something that a lot of near female Kanas are going to be running. I kind of prefer having Dragonstone Plus with Dragon's Roar, but if you don't really have Dragon's Roar fodder to begin with, then this is something you can run. But if you do have it, and if you don't have Lagu's Friend, then Counter Roar 4 is going to be the next best option that you can run. Again, the resistance is going to be an important stat with a lot of these skills, and Dragon's Roar could be run, and you can just retaliate back with it, and Counter Roar 4 is going to be giving you that damage reflection, so it is going to be doing a lot of damage. But as we move on with the metagame, pierceable damage reduction like this is not going to be all that reliable, so if you can stack up some unpierceable damage reduction with Dragon's Roar and Emblem Ike, that can certainly help you. And you can also run Attack Speed Finish 4 in this slot if you don't really have the access to Scout skill, or if you don't have enough resistance. And again, a unit like Korin can make use of Lagu's Friend, get that flat damage reduction based on her defense, and Panic Smoke 4 is a pretty good Omni tanking skill that you can run in the slot C. You don't really have to run Pledge, so that just frees up your slot C. For a lot of the dragons, they can also have very high HP, so Infantry Pulse 4 from the Divine Codes could also be run, and can certainly help you get a lower cooldown. and also support your allies. You can also run Firestorm boost in the slot A to get the guard effect and the extra HP, and whenever we get speed resistance tempo 4 in the future, that is going to be a good slot B skill because with the guard effect and the tempo effect, the enemy is not charging their special unless they have null guard themselves, and it also has good synergy with the special charges that you can get out of Arcane Fellstone. And if you want to maximize on your offenses, attack speed Oath 4 can also be run, and it does help you just stay near your allies with the warping. And then finally, you can also run attack speed Bulwark in the slot B so that you can get the super obstruct effect. And with a high cooldown special like Dragon Fang, you can run Time Pulse 4, and because of the special charges of the weapon, you're able to retaliate back with it and do a lot of damage. Most of the armored dragons are slow and they don't really want to run this weapon, and instead they want to run New Sunstone Plus or Arcane Grima, but there are a few dragons who would like to run this, and Rearmed Robin is definitely at the top, or Rearmed Grima, whichever you prefer. So because being a rearmed unit, she can still have her dragon hide skill while running Arcane Fellstone, so it's going to be a bit better weapon than Arcane Grima for stat stacking. And Winter Sothis did get a weapon refine, but this weapon is just better than her refine, so you can run it and you're really not losing much by letting go of Sirius as a special, as you just want to run the other specials like Aegis or Armored Flow. And then in tier 3 we do have Legendary Tiki. She's not going to be far saving much in the modern times with her stat spread, so she's going to be functioning a lot better as a near save. So if you have invested a lot into her, and if you want to run her as a near save, then this weapon is going to be something that you can run, even if you will have to let go of her Slotsy skill. And then Fallen Tiki also didn't really get the best of the weapon refine, and her Slotsy is also outdated, so it doesn't really take much for her to use this weapon. Arcane Fellstone is going to be overlapping a bit with the special charges of Dragon Hide, but keep in mind that Arcane Fellstone can give you a lot of extra stats, and then Dragon Hide can debuff the enemy's alt stats by -8. So this is good for the stat swings, and you can run a Farsight build and run Counter Roar 4 as the slot B option, and retaliate back with Armored Beacon, which is going to be doing a lot of damage, and it is going to be unpierceable with the help of Emblem Ike, and it itself already has the unpierceable damage reduction, so it's a good failsafe. And Counter Roar 4 is going to be giving you that healing, and Attuned Guard scale is also something that you can run on her. Now keep in mind, while you're giving her Attuned Guard and Arcane Fellstone, you're not going to be able to duplicate these skills. She can just use it, and same goes for other Arcane and Attuned units who can make use of their other skills. You can also run this on Sothis with the Scout skill. She does have the resistance to make use of this at max investment, and Hardy Fighter is going to be pre-charging Aegis, and then with the special charges of the weapon, you're always able to loop your Aegis for the double attack or for the subsequent attacks, so that can help you in far saving. And Hardy Fighter with Aegis simply gives you that unpierceable damage reduction, which is really helpful against the modern threats nowadays. And then Legendary Tiki can just run a near save build with Hardy Fighter. Firestorm Boost 3 is something you can run, but on budget, Kestrel Stance is also something you can run. Firestorm does give you a bit extra HP, which can help you for survival. And then finally, Fallen Tiki can also run this, and attack speed Unity is also going to be an option. Unfortunately, outside of Hardy Fighter and Counter Roar 4, there are not a lot of options for these armored dragons. Flying dragons like Legend Grima and Naga just want to run Dragonstone Plus and keep their exclusive scale, but that cannot really be said for Halloween Sothis. Again, you get rid of Sirius, which is not really that big of a deal. And Summer Tiki did get a weapon refine a while back, but still this weapon could be used with her stat spread, and she is decently fast. Harmonic Tiki is going to be getting a weapon refine later this year, so it's probably better that you wait for her refine, as it's likely going to be better than this arcane weapon, I hope. And for the flying dragons, you can again make use of their resistance, run the scout skill, and Deadly Miasma could be run with Soaring Echo. So their niche isn't really all that strong compared to armored dragons or infantry dragons, and there are not a lot of skills that they can use. You can even go the full player phase route with Flared Sparrow and Occultist Strike and pretty much be less good Fallen Lilith or regular Lilith. So unfortunately, not a lot of options, and Rain Snap is also another slotsy skill that you can run along with Soaring Echo, and there's really no Gale Forcing with dragons, so unfortunately these special charges isn't really going to be helping you too much in player phasing. There are not a lot of cavalry dragons, and all of them have their exclusive skill which they want to keep. And if you want to change the weapon of regular Nifl, for example, then Dragonstone Plus is just going to be a better option, as you can still keep your Slotsy skill. So really don't give this weapon to any of the cavalry dragons. And overall, my tier list for Arcane Fellstone is going to be looking something like this. A lot of dragons have been excluded because, like I said, they just prefer having other weapons. But if you're in a dilemma of picking a dragon for Arcane Fellstone usage, then this could definitely give you an idea. And you can click the link on his stream right now to check out my breakdown of the Fallen Banner. And make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because YouTube sub boxes is about as functional as Null for Love from this weapon for slower dragons. So with that said, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.